How's it going, my beautiful people? Here I am with another video. And now I would like to talk about managing your risk when it comes to Forex. Actually, this applies to pretty much everything when it comes to like variable income. Overall, it could be to stocks, but we're gonna focus on Forex because Forex is way too big of a world for us to not focus on it yet, at least until we dominate it. So how are we going to manage the risk, and why I'm talking about it? Why it is important for us to manage and learn how to manage our risk and understand what we're doing especially when it comes to Forex, and especially because especially if you're trading without a stop loss, which is the foundation of the strategy in which I'm teaching you guys in the way I operated. And I'm not saying that I don't use strategies that use stop loss, because I can also use stop loss in my strategies, but I also do not use stop loss. So it's like I lose a little bit of both worlds. I get the best of both worlds. But for my solid foundation, I'd rather not use a stop loss than to use stop loss, because I think that if you don't use stop loss, it's easier, quote unquote, to make profit than using a stop loss. Okay, for example, I'm not saying that it's easy to trade without a stop loss, but it's easier, in my opinion, than not stop loss, because when you don't use stop loss, you can literally do this. It's like a ladder that it keeps climbing up. You keep climbing up. It's easier to make profit and more consistent than using a stop loss, because with the stop loss, you gain a little bit and then you lose the next day, then you gain again, and then you gain again, then you lose it again, and then you gain again, and then you lose it again. And then a lot of the times what happens is you trade an entire month, and then only to realize that by the end of the month, you are on break-even point, or worse, you're negative, And of course, that depends on the cycle of the strategy, because it really depends on many factors. But I'm saying that it's a little easier, even with the risks involved, to have a more linear profit without a stop loss. That's why that's my solid foundation for us to start it, and before we even trade with the stop loss. And then once you get this thing like out of the way, then we can actually have another account that uses stop loss. But it's just my way to do it. Okay, it's just the way that I found that worked for me, and that's easier for me, and the way I teach it. But I'm open to learn as much as much as I can with you guys as well. But I'm not talking about it. I'm not going to talk about it. What I want to talk about is risk and how to manage the risk, especially if you're not using stop loss. Because the problem is, without a stop loss, even though it might sound easier, and it might be a little easier again to make that linear profit, it's also easier, quote unquote, that depends as well, but it's easier for you to blow up your account because you're not using stop loss. So the problem is that if the market goes against you to a certain degree, and if you don't have margin anymore, you could literally blow up your account. So how are we going to manage it? How are we going to control it? And what are we going to do when the market goes against us? Because it's very easy for us to make money when the market's in our favor, when like we buy your USD and then the market goes up. But what are you going to do when it goes down? Because you cannot control it. No matter how good your analysis is, you're always going to make a trade. You're always going to place a trade in which you're going to open a trade, and then the market's going to go against you. So the real question here is, what do you do when the market is against you? Not when the market is in your favor, because it's too easy when it's in your favor. You just close the trade positive. And that's what I want to talk about today. So let me try and break it down as fast as I can, so I don't make this video like a 2-hour long video, although I wanted to make it because I think it's too much to talk in a 10-minute video. But yeah, let's go ahead and see what we can do. So for this example, I brought two accounts. So let me remove my face, take my face out of the way, because my face is bothering. So for example, we have two people. Okay, we have two traders. We have trader A, and then we have trader B. Okay, so for example, the first person has 10K. So this person is trading with a $10K $10,000 account, and person B is also trading with a $10,000 account. But the difference here, and check this out, the difference here is that the person A only has $10,000 overall. So his or her total net worth is $10,000. And first off, to be really honest, you guys, it really goes down to personal opinion, but I'm just going to say my opinion out there as well. I don't even think it is smart for you to put all your money into high risk investment. So I already start with that. Even though I love Forex, I love high risk investment, I love all of it, but I still don't recommend if you all you have in your life is 10K or 5K or 1K. I mean, unless you barely have any money, like, because one thing is for you to have 1K, and then one thing for you to have like 500K. Like, they're two different things. But like, overall, the idea is to not put all of your money into high risk investments, especially if that's your emergency reserve, if you need liquidity, if you don't have anything to fall back on. You need to put some money in there, at least that you're not gonna worry, that you're not afraid to lose, or at least that you're not gonna use it for a little while, for a few months. So that's how I view it. Okay, so this is the first thing. But let's say for whatever reason this person A put $10,000 in here, and it is what it is. Okay, they accepted the risk. It is what it is. That's life. Okay, but that's his or her entire net worth. But person B, this person has 200K, and they put 10K off the 200K in there. So this person now has 190K. So that's the difference. So that's what I want to talk about before. So it's one thing for you to put $10,000 in Forex when you have 200K, and it's another thing for you to put $10,000 in Forex when you only have $10,000. So the financial health is different. Like, the financial situation is different, because $10,000 for person A is one thing, and then $10,000 for person B is a totally different thing. So that's the first thing that you need to understand. And for example, why I am saying that, because for example, look at person B and person A. What is this percentage here? So I just want to show you that this little line right here, this shows the drawdown of the account. So from account B and account A. So account A has a 50% of drawdown. So that's the drawdown. You're probably not gonna see it right, because the way I drew it. I don't know. The way I drew it was awful because I'm using my mouse, but at least you can see it's 50%. And person B is 99%. So if you're fast, you probably got it why I am explaining it. But if you didn't get it, let me explain it to you. So basically, why I would only allow person A, for example, to only have a 50% of drawdown before using hedging if you're not using stop loss, and person B to have 99% of drawdown. Because worst case scenario, it pretty much says it all. This person B has $190,000 in which this person, the worst case scenario, can deposit. So the good thing about Forex is that you can deposit money to gain margin. It's like 10K is your son account, and then the son does some bullshit, and then the 190,000K is like the dad or the mom, and then the mom has to come up and save the son. It's kind of how it works. I know it's a really shitty analogy. But at least you understood it, right? So the good thing about, there's nothing wrong with depositing money, okay? Because if you're doing it the right way, it is totally fine. So it's easier for this person B to have a 99% of drawdown, because this person has a backup. The backup is $190,000. And I'm not saying you're going to put all of it in there, but you can deposit more, 10K or more 15K, to gain more margin, to gain time. And what you need to understand is that every investment type that you have delta T. So delta T is time, okay? Every investment that you have delta T in your favor, it's easier than not having delta T. And that's why short-term trades are way harder to be profitable consistently than long-form trades. For example, why do you think Warren Buffett and these amazing funds, like overall that have been like positive for over 40 years, they use long form investments, like for example buy and hold or swing trading or position trading, because they have time in their favor. And I'm not saying that you cannot do short-term investment, because I do day trading as well, but I'm saying that, and casually saying, and I think like overall it's easier for you when you have time in your favor versus not having time in your favor, because here you can manage your risk. You can manage the risk. You can maybe deposit some money. Maybe you can create a structure that's going to generate you money to cover up the loss that you have on account A, for example. So you can think more versus opening a trade today and then having to close the trade and at the end of the same day, because you don't have time in your favor. And if the market goes against you today, and if you I don't know, if you don't have delta T, the market could go back to break-even point tomorrow, and then because you're forced to close the trade at the same day, you might be limiting what you can do. So that's kind of what I'm trying to say, and this is why. That's the first point. So this is the first thing that you want to understand. So once you have it mastered, what you want to do is, for example, if person B can have a 99% of drawdown on this account, it's much easier for this person to make more profit because they have more margin than person A. So person A has to act like the 50% of drawdown is the 100% of the account, and this other 50% is like the dad, for example, you know, the backup, which will allow for this first part of the account, which will try to make more profit to save the hedging of the account of the first beginning of the account, because you cannot deposit money. So that's kind of how you have to act. And sometimes you're not even gonna be able, I'm sorry, to have 50% of drawdown. You're gonna have to close to place hedging trades at 33%, because if you place it 32%, you maybe have like 3 chances. For example, you have 33%, you have 66%, 2 chances, and then worst case scenario you have a 3rd chance as well, which is would be your quote unquote deposit, just so you can save the account. And of course all the accounts could go negative, but that is the risk of not using a stop loss. And that's why you need to understand that it is so much harder if you just have one account and you cannot deposit money. You have to be way more conservative, and especially if that's all your net worth, than the person B. So which is always going to be easier. Okay, so this is why you want to understand this risk, because if you don't understand this risk, you're going to lose money. And also understand that the more trades you do in one account, the more prone you are to increase the drawdown. So it is one thing for you to trade for like 1 month and then you open 10 trades, and it's a whole nother thing for you to like trade for 3 years and then you've opened like 3,000 trades in a span of 3 years. So your drawdown is going to decrease. So the more time passes, the more your drawdown increases. And the more your drawdown increases, the more you're close to hitting that break point. So for example, you trade for 10 months, you had a 5% of drawdown. I mean, you traded for 1 month, you had a 5% of drawdown. You traded for 6 months, you had a 25% of drawdown. You traded for 1 year, you had 40% of drawdown. You traded for, I don't know, maybe 1 year, you had a 50% of drawdown. I said 4 months, right? I don't know. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, but 1 year is like 50% of drawdown, and then it just keeps going. It just keeps getting worse, because now you're stuck here, for example, and then you're gonna have to use the other margin, which is the other 50%. So there's 2 things that could happen here. A, you could make profits and eat up the loss here, so you gain margin, so you can breathe out, you know, and let the account roll again. Or B, you getting to a worse into a bad side of the strategy, because every strategy is cyclical, but you're on a bad cycle right now. And then now you not only do you have 50%, but now you have like 60%, 70%, 80% potentially, until you blow up your account. And that is the risk. And I'm saying that because this is actually the risk of not using stop loss, but that's the price you pay for having a profit that's almost linear, against like using stop loss and potentially like wasting a whole year. And then by the end of the month, by the end of the year, you may like 5% of profit, if you make profit. Because what happens is without a stop loss, the way I trade and the way I see people trade without a stop loss, is that you can get up to like 40% a year, 35% a year, way easier than someone without a stop loss, for example, with a stop loss, for example. And so, but like I said, it really depends on the cycle of the strategy, because what happens is you could potentially start a strategy without a stop loss and also be stuck in hedging first year or on 3rd year. Or if you use a stop loss, you could make like 40% in 1 year, or maybe you're negative in 1 year. And for example, somebody's gonna say, oh, but hey, you're using stop loss. I mean, you're not using stop loss, but you're stuck in hedging 50%, and it's bad. Yes, it is bad. But imagine if you're using stop loss and you actually lost 50% of the account. Because with me, without a stop loss, I mean, I am having a 50% of drawdown or of unrealized loss, but I have the chance of go back to break even point. But if you are using stop loss and you actually lost 50% of the account, now you literally have to do 100% of the account, which is super hard to do consistently to go back to that break even point. So you're not as good as you think you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I'm saying, I'm not saying that to like shit on nobody who uses stop loss or not, because I also have strategies in which I use stop loss, but I'm saying that there's no like, oh, which one's best, or oh no, stop loss, if you don't use stop loss it's bad, or if you use stop loss bad. It really depends on the perspective. It really depends on perspective, because it could be good for me but bad for you, or it could be good for you and bad for me, or you could use a little bit of both, or it really depends on the cycle, on the cycle of the strategy. So it's really hard saying those things, you know. And I just want to make these videos to open up, so we can talk about risk, because if you do understand risk and you can become a risk manager or a professional risk manager, you are so much more prone to be profitable long term than someone who just opens a trade and doesn't even know what they're doing and thinks they're gonna get rich in a month with trading, which doesn't happen with 90% of people. It might happen with one lucky guy, but most people are just gonna blow up their accounts, and I've seen it many times. So that's why I want to show you what is risk and how we can manage risk, and many examples from many people. So it is so much more than just opening a trade and thinking that you're going to get rich, especially at this day. I want to bring some quality, valuable content, and even though it's very hard to digest this type of content because it's very deep, it is a knowledge that if you get good at it, you're so much more likely to become profitable long term. And this is this thing that I'm teaching here on this paint is what I'm doing with all of my accounts, and that's why you can see that all of my 10 accounts, they are positive. And not only that, but I'm also trading with more accounts as well, in which I want to try to replicate the strategy to see if I'm gonna have the same results, you know, the same performance. So it's easier for us. So as you can see, this account is like what, 15 days going and an 8% already, and I am playing around in a very safe manner. I'm not even leveraging this account. This account is very safe and very conservative. So that's just so you know the power of understanding the strategy and risk management and how you can use it in your favor rather than against it. So I just want to bring you a new perspective. And like I said, guys, I'm so open to learn with you guys. I am not here to be the owner of the truth or pretend that I know everything, because I don't know anything. I am just a student, just like you guys. I just found my own way of doing it, and I'm open to learn more ways, because I think that we can all learn from one another. I can learn from you, maybe you can learn from me, and then when we put it all together, that's when we actually develop something that's really good. So that is a little bit of risk. I know it's very hard, even for me. It's super hard and dense talking about these things. It's very tiring because I need to think so much, especially because it's not my native language. But I hope you can learn something from it, and if you really apply those things into your trading and you understand that, and don't forget that I just did a free 100% free Forex course. So the strategy that I'm doing, the way that I trade, everything literally is for free on YouTube. Literally, man, this is paid course stuff, and I'm literally doing that for free. 100% for free. Okay, so you can learn a little bit of that, and also using other markets for us to mix it out together. So maybe use a little bit of Forex and a little bit of stocks, or maybe generate profit from Forex and then put this money that we generated on high risk into like lower risk investments like treasury bonds, stocks, like indexes, and use this iceberg system, which is what I said, in which like the tip of the iceberg would be your high risk investments, and then the lower part of the iceberg would be your lower risk investment. So here is high risk investment, but with less money, and here is low risk investment with more money. And with this, you find a sustainable long-term portfolio for you to actually be generating money on the long term without your work and without your career, and allocating money and finding something that's going to be sustainable for you, so you can actually make money with the internet. Okay, because like I said, this channel is about entrepreneurship. So that was it. I know this kind of complicated, very hard, very complicated, but that's just the beginning of like so much shit that I want to teach you guys, and I think that you're gonna love it if you just stick around with it. So if you do like this type of content, please consider hitting a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel, so you're going to be helping me creating more valuable content for you guys, and I'm sure we're going to learn a lot from it. So I'm all about adding value to people's lives before you even ask for anything. So before I even ask for anything or I sell anything for you guys, I want to make sure that I teach as much as I can and I add as much value as I can, so we can be fair with each other and we can build a more fair, I would say, like relationship, a more sustainable relationship than just me selling you some bullshit thing that doesn't work and then you end up losing money and you get mad at me. So I want to do something better than this, okay? And I'll try my best to do that so we can all grow together. So thank you so much for watching this video. Stick around because we're going to be talking about many investment types. Okay, I'm going to be talking about crypto as well in the future, a little bit of day trading as well, the strategies, portfolio management, systems in which we can do sustainable things, leveraging money, content creation. I mean, we've been talking about many things. We'll be talking about faceless channels, which is one thing as well that you can make money on the internet. Pay traffic, which is also a great tool for you to make money with risk, but it's a great tool to make money. Organic traffic, building your company online, content creation overall, you know, all these apps that are out there with content creation, camera reviews, for us to create better content, website, so many things, man. Photoshop, like everything. Okay, even in the future, even I even think that I'm gonna start bringing AI stuff, okay, for us and our companies, like machine learning, Python programming. Like I just want to bring so many things that you have no idea, and I'm so excited to teach it because I love talking about these things, and it's something that's gonna actually help us through life, you know. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for watching the video. I wrote up so much for you. I hope you can make as much money as you can online. I'm sorry for stuttering. It's just that it's a little hard for me, but I'm getting better every single day, so I can, you know, give the message in a clearer way. But that was it. Thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thank you guys.